UConn, the University of Connecticut, the basketball capital of the world. However you may know it, UConn has proven time and time again its prestigious reputation as one of the top public universities in the nation. As a top-ranked public university in the nation, UConn is certainly well recognized. The start of the 2024-25 academic year saw the university welcome in record-setting numbers for the class of 2028. This includes not just the main Stores campus, but the regional campuses as well. There is a total of 24,378 undergraduate students that have been accepted to UConn ahead of the fall 2024 semester. With more than 125 majors offered as well as over 24,000 enrolled students, UConn has surely set new records. So, what changes is the university making to handle their record-breaking success? On October 21st of this year, the Office of the Provost sent out an announcement to the entire student body. As part of our ongoing commitment to providing you with the best possible educational experience, we want to make you aware of some important work we're doing to review our academic program offerings. It's important to note that reviewing a program doesn't mean it's going away. Just like there are programs we offered 30 years ago that we no longer have today, our academic offerings need to evolve with the changing interests of students in the job market.
So the announcement was not just that there would be a review of programs. The announcement was that this review was going to be about the survival of some of our programs or the closing down of some of them.
According to UConn's Office of Provost website, academic review is to provide a critical and unbiased assessment of an academic unit's programs and activities.
A lot of this was very poor communication in the sense that we knew that 70 programs were not going to be cut, undergraduate majors specifically, and then even more graduate programs. The issue is that we had serious issues with the process by which they were reviewing programs, even though we knew that they weren't going to be cutting most all of them. But it's their communication in the way that they kind of came across, which was quite arrogant, led us to believe that, yes, they would be cutting a lot of programs.
The thing is that we were wondering if this was the intentional purpose of the announcement, to create a little bit of alarm and scare. There wasn't a communication of a process, but rather the outcome, and it was very much linked to the idea of budget cuts.
Starting in 2022, UConn started receiving additional millions in funding through the form of COVID relief funds. Between the university and UConn Health, UConn received over $500 million in additional funding from 2022 to 2025. The university's operating expenses in fiscal year 2024 were $1.6 billion, while their revenue matched that at $1.6 billion as well. The plan is to reduce the operating budget by 3% each year for 5 years. This is a massive cut. For perspective, 3% of $1.6 billion is approximately $48 million. Shortly after they announced this plan, departments had their funding accounts centralized in the dean's office overnight, where professors and grad students used to be able to use their funding freely. Spending requests must now be made.
It's really affected me more than I thought, because there's a lot of classes that had to get condensed. I don't want to say cut because they didn't have to get cut, but condensed. And I feel like I wasn't able to get the full experience of what that class was supposed to be like. Granted, it ended up being a wonderful class and a great experience, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. And I feel like that's unfortunate that, these budget cuts have allowed the system to have to be condensed and not the full experience of what it should be originally.
We been receiving different messages from different sources, from the provost level, from the dean's level, from the department head level, from the news. Very different versions of the facts. Sometimes when we read the newspapers, what the higher administration says is that it's just a normal, routinary thing, but we cannot forget that we are in the process of implementing 15% budget cuts. And so everything that is happening is related to that.
And this could be part of a campaign to make themselves look better so that they can ask for more money. But the problem is that A, you're not really saving any money, and B, you're upsetting everybody by doing so.
With 205 programs that were identified to have low enrollment and or completion rates, at least 145 will be intact. This comes, however, with modifications and improvements to these programs. 36 programs still await review with no concrete decisions set in place. December 11th marks UConn's Board of Trustees meeting that will discuss the academic program review regarding lower enrolled majors. In a UConn Today article from December 2nd, Provost Ann DeLeva said that all decisions around program modifications, suspensions, and closures have been made by the faculty, department heads, and deans, not by the administration. As December 11th approaches, it's been noted that the potential impact towards students is limited. Only 8% of the borderline 6,000 undergraduate degrees completed at UConn in an average year are programs with 20 or fewer average annual completions. UConn administration has considered the academic review, and it's safe to say that most of these smaller majors will remain in place. Even after December 11th, there may not be a concrete answer to what UConn intends to do with smaller majors, but things are definitely moving forward.
Well, I hate always to make announcements, I don't... Never occurred to me when I signed on to be a college president I was going to be making announcements. I thought my job was to help other people do things. To get caught in the kind of strategic relationship that we're in now with our critics is, to me, a most unhappy situation. I'm not a strategist. I wasn't trained as a strategist. I have no stomach for it. And yet, it seems to be a part of a college president's job these days.